For many people, like myself, who suffer from Crohn's disease, this will affect your working life quite a bit at times. If you do want to hear how it affects your life and also hear some tips on how to handle it, then you're in the right place. My name is Spuda and I've been living with Crohn's disease for 20 years. So first off, what's Crohn's disease? It's a chronic condition that inflames most of your digestive system, mainly in the intestines, but you can have other symptoms such as weight loss, fatigue, obviously diarrhea, acid reflux. It can affect anywhere in the digestive system. So you can imagine trying to manage all those symptoms during a flare-up and also maintaining a regular work schedule can be quite arduous, and it's no small feat. If you do want to hear a full story about my journey with Crohn's, I do have that available on the channel as well. Hopefully it's informative. Okay, so first of all, when you experience a flare-up, it's going to affect your working life to the extent of possibly sick days, long absences, depending on the severity of the flare-up. But mainly, oftentimes we can feel self-conscious about having to explain these symptoms to our employer when we take sick days, so it can cause probably a little bit of anxiety and stress when you do have to unfortunately call in for sick days or take an extended period of absence, depending on the severity of what's going on. If you are someone who's got a really strong work ethic, you can feel like you're letting down your colleagues, you feel like they might look on you negatively, or that person's taking so many sick days whilst we're picking up his workload or her workload. It can be quite stressful in that respect as well, totally understandable. So dealing with this over the course of 20 years and having been with a variety of employers, I've had to deal with employers who have not been so accommodating, others that have been accommodating but just to a certain degree, or in my case, luckily I've been in the same job for 7 years now and they've been absolutely brilliant. So I certainly hope that you guys have a nice employer as well. So another aspect of this is particularly taking a lot of extra breaks and toilet breaks, and depending on what kind of working environment you have, that might actually not be possible at times. So if you were working on a building site, I can imagine it would be quite difficult. Even in the office as well, if you're taking extra breaks, that's something else your colleagues will probably pick up on as well. For me, if I'm in meetings as well, I don't feel I can suddenly interrupt those meetings to take that break. I've got to be quite tactical about it, I suppose. So in terms of that, it does also cause fatigue as well. So generally, if you're feeling like you're fatigued and you're not being as productive, that's perfectly normal. Getting your colleagues to understand that, some of them will, some of them won't. It's quite challenging as well. But ultimately, just remember your mental health in this respect. Never mind the symptoms of the flare-up itself. Think about your mental health, get your self-care going, confide in people. It's all very important. So ultimately, getting the support from your employer is going to probably play a key role in helping you manage it when things aren't going as well as what you'd like. It doesn't mean to say that you're going to deal with flare-ups all the time. Some days you will have productive days. And on those days, probably just take full advantage of it and make sure to fulfill much of your duties as possible, so that when you do have to have those days where you're not as productive, then the employer's probably going to take that on balance. The right employer will do that. As I've said, I've got a very accommodating employer that will do everything to bend over backwards to help me out when things aren't going my way, because they know me as an individual and they know my work ethics. I've demonstrated those work ethics and productivity when things are going well, so it kind of balances out that way. Someone who isn't particularly good at their job and then has Crohn's at the same time, that might not be a good thing for them. Maybe it's just not the job for them necessarily, but otherwise the support from the employers is sort of key to making sure that you can get through it. So the way we can achieve this, other than being a good worker bees on our good days, is to be upfront about everything. And I get it, some of these symptoms can be quite self-conscious, embarrassing to talk about. I've certainly felt that in my time. Dealing with it for 20 years, I've just gotten over it, and I hope that everybody else does as well. So try not to worry so much about it. If you're going for a new job in particular, you've got to be upfront there and then the interview. Don't look at it as a way of thinking that if I tell them about this medical condition, they're not going to hire me. That's not the case. If you've got all the right qualifications, then they should judge you on that. But if you were to sort of withhold that information, get the job, and then have to take all the sick days for a condition you never told them about in the beginning in the interview process, then that's a lot worse. It kind of puts you on the back foot, really. And I'm not saying that interviews necessarily have to come with a full medical history, I just found that it's easier to tell them straight away, and they will appreciate that. So, and just so you don't think that I'm sort of making all this up, I actually had a flare up at the end of last year. It took me out for a week. I had to go into hospital again. Employer was absolutely lovely about it, understood it, and wished me well. So just to sort of put you in the picture, it's still going on with me to this day, 20 years later. But hopefully these sort of tips and insight might give you some help if you're having trouble with work and sort of Crohn's life, I suppose you can call it. Hopefully you found this video helpful, but if you've got any particular experiences with Crohn's and work and things like that, feel free to share it in the comments. Otherwise, just leave a little emoji or something that helps with engagement, I've been told. Thank you for watching.